Hello, my name is Wyatt Guthrie, and today I will be talking to you guys about The Weeknd. But first, I would like to pan you to my audience. Alright, and to start with The Weeknd, many of you may or may not know him. The Weeknd's real name is Abel McCann Tesfaye, and he was also born February 16th, 1990, in Toronto, Canada. The Weeknd is most popularly known for his songs such as Blinding Lights, The Hills, and Die For You. My goal today is to help you guys better understand who The Weeknd is and what he's done to get to where he is today. And from all the research that I have done, and I can tell you about the breakout songs he's wrote, what he's gone through growing up, and what he's doing now. And to start with what he's gone through growing up, we got to start off very young when he was just a toddler. When The Weeknd was just a toddler, his father had left, and that was a huge part in his life and also made him very insecure and shy because without a father you don't really have somebody, it just didn't work out for him. And because The Weeknd was so shy and stuff, that really is what gave him a platform, was his mysterious background and mysterious persona that made fans love him so much and how secretive he was. And surprisingly enough, The Weeknd, now referred to as Abel, was actually a high school dropout. In Abel's junior year of high school, he dropped out of high school to pursue his music career. And with that being said, his mom obviously would not approve of that, and his mom and grandmother had kicked him out. So he was on his own and just 17 years old as a high school dropout. So Abel would create music about his casual drug use and the casual sex he would have. Abel creates music that can mix in with some rap, but is mostly R&B. So that stands for rhythm and blues and all that. He just creates some nice, good music, but ultimately it's a genre of its own. At this time, when Abel was working at a job, he was working at a job, American Apparel, where he met this man who was a producer, and his name was Jeremy Rose. They then created 3 songs which gained a lot of attention. But even though Abel was getting recognition for his music, he avoided interviews for years because of how shy and insecure he was. He didn't want to be on camera or be known or seen. So that really also helped him blow up in the early run, was because he was so anonymous and behind the mask, even though there was no mask really. Other people who were born in Canada, Toronto, Canada, would be Drake. He was born in Toronto, Canada. And that's important because he also heard The Weeknd's music early on and gave him a platform and a studio to use so that he could create his music. When Abel would create his first official mixtape with 9 songs, and that album or mixtape was called House of Balloons. This mixtape and 2 others were enough to get him a signing deal with his first ever producing tag would be Universal. Now, he had the opportunity to sign for OVO Productions with Drake, but ultimately chose not to. In 2012, Abel went on his first ever tour in the United States, which featured a show at Coachella. So his first ever tour, he got to perform at Coachella in the United States, which is pretty cool. In 2013, Abel created his first ever studio album called Kissland. And with Drake's help, even though he didn't sign with Drake, Drake still helped him out because he liked The Weeknd so much, which is super cool. And they went on to make number 2 in the top 200 billboards with that album, Kissland. And then in 2015, at the BET Awards, The Weeknd, or Abel, whatever you want to call him, won the Centric Award, where he performed his song Earned It and debuted his next song, The Hills, which went on to be a very, very popular and well-known song, which also was the first song that I'd ever heard from The Weeknd, which is kind of crazy. And Abel started getting his flow together at this point and was really getting somewhere huge. In 2016, Abel released his next studio album called Starboy. Once this album debuted, it went on to be number one in the US Billboard 200. So he didn't even get number two this time. He made number one. He did better than Kissland. So even making progress still in 2016. And Abel had collabs on his album, which helped him, get to number one, being Daft Punk and Kendrick Lamar. Those really stood out and helped him on his album in getting it so big and up there on number one in the top 200. And then Abel's album also got nominated for a Grammy back in 2017. And then he also actually won that Grammy. So he got a Grammy for his album Starboy with Kendrick Lamar and Daft Punk, which was pretty cool. Abel also had the opportunity to make another song later on with Kendrick Lamar in 2018 for the movie Black Panther, which a lot of you may know. Abel over time has grown such a mass audience and a group of fans since he started to where he is now in 2020 that he became the center of attention, being the halftime show performance at Super Bowl 55. This created a platform for Abel and was so big and gave him the opportunity he wanted to create a documentary on it. So they created a documentary based on The Weeknd from that halftime show and everything that went into it. And that would be called The Show if anyone would be interested in watching it. The Weeknd also after this, most recently in 2023, was in a movie called Uncut Gems starring Adam Sandler. Now, The Weeknd actually unironically played The Weeknd himself in the movie. So he's even showing himself now and shows a lot of maturity because now he's showing himself and is actually being proactive and being in a movie star even.